Well, this is the absolute mother of all iPhone 12 specs leaks, so you should definitely watch this one to the end. There's tons of information, a huge specs dump. So we've got iPhone 12, 12 Pro, 12 Pro Max specs, details, loads of new branding information, tons of specific info about the products and all the new things coming. And I know all of you guys want specific information about release dates, prices, setups of all of those, and most of this information is a huge specs dump by an account in China called Kang, and a very, very reliable tipster and leaker overall. So firstly, the iPhone 12 Pro Max, 6.7 inch screen on that one, as we know, and some of the options according to him: gold, silver, blue, and graphite. Now, this may be translated a little bit wrong. This could be space gray. Apple may even be changing space gray into graphite for their usual space gray upgrade. So not sure if it's going to come as being called graphite or space gray, but certainly that's that gray option that they usually give us. iPhone 12 Pro also in gold, silver, that new blue color, and graphite as well. Again, maybe called space gray, but it's going to be that gray color. And as we've heard, the iPhone 12 mini and probably iPhone 12 coming with some extra colors, probably those pastel based colors that we've seen. So black, white, red, blue, and green on the iPhone 12 mini. Then in his leak, we get some more info on the video capabilities of all of the iPhone 12s. This is obviously powered by the A14 chipset and everything else. This year, the iPhone 12, when recording video, will be able to capture Dolby Vision. And this is actually really cool because this is just going to be an upgrade that everyone gets every time that you record video. So Dolby Vision is basically a framework for capturing more dynamic range in a scene. And obviously Dolby is a brand itself, but you may have heard it being called HDR10 or HDR10 Plus. They're often actually compared to each other. They both, however, attempt to do the same thing, which is just capture more dynamic range in a scene. So what you're gonna get is more details in both the shadows and the highlights at the same time. This is really important because taking away megapixels and everything like that, basically dynamic range in the scene is what makes something actually look good. It's more cinematic. Cinematic cameras have incredible dynamic range, and the more dynamic range you get from a camera, basically the better that the images will look from it. I'm not going to say this is massively revolutionary from Apple to include this. Many other phones either include Dolby or HDR10 Plus, but it's a very good upgrade and I'm glad we're seeing it in the iPhone 12. The reason that this is important also is accompanying that information, we get this. Super Retina XDR displays. So this is the branding that Apple are going to give the new OLED displays on the iPhone 12. And this again feeds on from the same branding that Apple have used in a couple of their other products. So it just means that the displays are better. They're able to display more colors and more dynamic range in scenes. It's basically a fancy name for what is also included on a couple of other products, but it's really good to see. And obviously both are going to work together. So not only are you going to be able to capture more dynamic range using Dolby Vision when you film something, but you're also going to take advantage of that with the screens, actually being able to watch that. So overall, the experience of recording and viewing video should be getting a big upgrade. No 120 Hertz though, so I guess you win some and you lose some. Now moving on to another bit of information, it confirms some hardware leaks that we saw earlier and makes a ton of sense. MagSafe. So a while back we did see those hardware leaks of magnets being placed into the back of the iPhone 12 in the chassis there in a circle design and then a magnet underneath as well. And they're obviously going to be used to clip the phone into certain chargers, so that you know for sure that the phone actually clips in place onto the charger. It was a really cool leak, but of course with all prototype leaks, you're never really sure if it's actually coming to the finished product or whether Apple will scrap it before it comes to the retail units. It looks though, thanks to Kang's leak, that Apple are going ahead with this, so the iPhone 12 series will feature this magnet array in there that will help it clip into wireless chargers, and they're going to call it MagSafe. Apple may actually completely rebrand wireless charging and just go ahead and call their wireless charging solution MagSafe, have those magnets in there. This also means that, of course, Apple need to provide some chargers with this because obviously that will go hand in hand. So they're going to call those chargers MagSafe chargers, and actually there's a single and a dual one which they're going to call MagSafe Duo. This is actually quite cool, very simple, not high tech or anything, just a bunch of magnets, but it's a nice thing to be able to clip something into a charger, know it's on there. And yeah, I guess it's just a unique thing that Apple have done here with some charging mats that I guess they're going to probably be producing around the same time as the iPhone 12. Still no AirPower, of course, not going to be branded AirPower, but MagSafe makes a lot of sense, and I think it's a pretty cool thing to do. Also in the leak, the wireless charging going up from about 7 or 7.5 watts to 15 watts. So that is a good doubling. Then we come on to, for me, the most exciting bit about this leak, which is camera specs of the iPhone 12 Pro and Pro Max. And yeah, we heard over the last few weeks that there's going to be a difference with the Pro Max this year. It's actually going to be not just bigger, but slightly better in a few areas, including the camera. Well, this leak confirms basically what we've been hearing. So the specifics of his leak, the iPhone 12 Pro Max using a main image sensor 47% larger than the iPhone 11 series, and also larger than the iPhone 12 Pro, which apparently is keeping that same sensor. So only the Pro Max getting an upgrade. The pixel sizes are 1.7 microns in size. So bigger sensor, bigger pixels. Expect the same amount of pixels. So a 12 megapixel sensor, just bigger pixels. And that just means better imaging. Also better low light as well. Also in the leak, Apple will apparently use the word expansive next to the ultra wide camera in the iPhone 12 Pro Max. There's no real explanation as to why they'll put that there. We can assume that the ultra wide angle maybe is getting even wider. It's wide already, really, really wide, but hey, maybe it's getting even wider. So the iPhone 12 Pro Max will have an ultra wide, a wide, which is the main image sensor, and then a zoom plus LiDAR. The main image sensor is getting a brand new lens setup with a 7-piece lens setup. It will have an f1.6 aperture and a focal length on the zoom camera of 65mm. The leak also says that the optical zoom will be about 5 times, which I'm kind of skeptical about. Usually you can only do about a 3 times zoom with normal lens setups. To get 5 times optical, you need to move to a periscope camera. Apple definitely aren't doing that. It may make sense though if Apple are actually making the ultra wide even wider, then they could measure it from the ultra wide to the zoom camera, and that may come out at like a 4 or 4.5 zoom, and maybe they'll call it 5 times. This is one of the only things in the leak that I'm kind of skeptical about, so we'll have to wait and see exactly how that comes. Then there's some camera specs for the iPhone 12 Pro as well, and yeah, apparently there are some differences. So you get an ultra wide, wide and zoom on that, plus LiDAR. That's on the iPhone 12 Pro, the smaller one. Also a 7-piece lens on the main camera with an f1.6 aperture. The max focal length on optical zoom though is 52mm on this one, suggesting that the Pro and the Pro Max have a different zoom range. The main takeaway from those specs leaks is that it looks like the Pro Max is getting a bigger main image sensor, possibly a wider ultra wide, meaning that the zoom range is longer too. We're not done there though, there's tons more. We're coming on to launch dates and actually sales dates for all of the iPhones this year. Kang did give some details on this. As we've heard, probably a staggered launch for the iPhone 12 this year. So October 23rd in stores for the iPhone 12 and 12 Pro. So that's the two 6.1 inch models. So the Mini and the Pro Max would be coming later in November. I don't know, maybe they just want to go for the non-Pro and the Pro version. And then I guess if you want those two either end, you might have to wait a few weeks. Now we come on to AirTags. So a leak from John Prosser, and John Prosser really leaked the AirTags and a lot of information about those. And he actually tweeted pretty much this morning telling us that AirTags now won't be coming even this year, apparently pushed into next year. He doesn't really give any reasons for this. He just says that that's the latest his source has given him. So if you were looking forward to AirTags at the event, I guess we're going to have to wait till next year to see what Apple are going to give us. Also, a leak from John Prosser here. According to him, $600 for a pair of earphones. Wow, that almost speechless, to be honest. That is an insane price for a pair of earphones. But according to him, that's the luxury variant. Yeah, it should be luxury at that price, but there may be a sports variant as well, coming in at around $350, which is still super expensive for a pair of earphones. But yeah, that's the latest pricing information for AirPods Studio. That was a massive specs leak. It was awesome. A ton of really specific info about loads of Apple products and what's coming. I hope that was helpful for you. I loved making this video. Please give it a thumbs up if you enjoyed it too. That is it for now though. Thank you for watching. Thumbs up, subscribe if you liked it, and I'll see you in the next one.